Welcome to the build video series of the KR 4.1 production car. Today I'm going to show you the steps for the build preparation. All new parts are based on my experience with this chassis. Let's take a look at the parts. The custom parts are milled carbon and laser sintered nylon 3D print. Note the different markings on the upper arms. One mark stands for 1.5 degrees of camber, 2 marks stand for 2 degrees and 3 for 2.5 degrees. The 4 marks on the front arms represent the 4 degrees of caster. The part preparation consists of 3 chapters. First, the preparation of the tub. Second, the preparation of the carbon parts shown. And last, we need to prepare this 3D print parts. As I will use aluminium screws, I will pre-press the threads of each bore hole. Therefore, in the first step, I will drill a tiny hole through the bottom of the bore holes to reduce the pressure and the heat in the threading process. I will take a small drill and a cordless drill and then you see the borehole isn't drilled through at all, and I will make a small hole here and therefore can reduce the pressure when threading the borehole. Do that for every hole we need to put a screw in, and these are all in the front and also here at the backbone of the chassis and all the ones in the rear. Then take grease, put it in the borehole, take your screwdriver and a steel screw and then slowly and straight put it in the hole. You will recognize there's much less power needed to screw this in. There will also be much less heat developing, so if you touch the screw now, you will see it's a little bit warm, and if you compare that to an ungreased hole, the heat will be much higher, and sometimes it can happen that you will destroy the threads with the heat. Now, for the preparation of the carbon parts, we have at first the droop plates, and these have a special kind of shape at this point to fit to the lower part of the tub. Now you can see here that it won't slip on all the way. My goal was to have the most material possible here, and therefore there is a little bit too much material at this place, and you need to remove some of it. And here I have an old droop plate of the KR4, and you can see how I removed material here at these places and created these chamfers, and you need to do this also on this one. And then these chamfers will allow the dew plate to be fully slipped on. And the second step is for the top plates. These top plates will hold down all three bearings that are located in the tub. The one for the two for the differential and the one for the main shaft. And these are not on the same height. So on the dew plate, on the top plate, we need an add-on. So you need something like 0.5 millimeter in thickness, and you can glue it on here at this part. And this will hold down the lower bearing of the main drive shaft. And as we have the same layout, nearly exactly the same layout at the rear too, we need also material here. Now some words for the preparation of the 3D printed parts. You can see these are connected, and so you have to remove them from themselves. It's a little bit like Tamiya's parts, and then remove everything that we don't need, so that you only have the part left, and also remove these little plastic that's too much, and then you will end up at the part and this white dot. And I for myself don't like that there's a white dot, because they're only colored from the outside, it's not black nylon, and so I work with the Sharpie, and then you can black it out and you won't see it on the car anymore. And now you have to do it for all the parts. It's a bit of work. Now most of the preparations are done. You can see I pre-pressed all the threads in the chassis holes. I milled away the material here at these places to make these plates fit properly on the underside of the chassis. I added a small 0.5 millimeter thick part on the lower side of the upper plates. And I prepared all the 3D print parts, took them off the cage and took the marker to make the white spots black. Now we are not finished with these. We have to do the same thing we did to the tub. We will have to pre-press the threads, and also because the 3D print is not always perfect, we need to drill the boreholes one time. So for that I'm taking a 2.5 millimeter drill and also my cordless drill, and will then one drill through it. You see it will be not so difficult to go through, just to make these holes round, and sometimes because the print is not very precise, this will make a perfect hole for the thread pressing after all. So you have to do it on all these parts, except for these. These you can see they have a 2.5 millimeter borehole and a 3 millimeter hole here, because we want to go through the screw to go through there and then go right here into these screw holes. So these, you can press them on here. And then the screw just needs to slip through there and goes into the thread down here. So these are 3 mm, so you can take a 3 mm drill and go through there too, but you don't have to, but you can do it. So every other hole here is 2.5 mm, except for these that go into the chassis, and except for these, because these are for the body posts. You have a countersunk screw that you use here, and the screw just goes through there and then screws into the body post. If you're done with drilling, then repeat what we did to the chassis. Add a little grease. And then pre-press the thread using the screw. Just check that the screw will go in there straight. And you can go forward and backwards, and you will see that the resistance is very low. And you can go through all the way here to the inside, so you have full thread for your ball stud later. Exactly like that, and then repeat it for all the parts. Alright guys, that's it. All parts are prepared now. I've made all the threads in the 3D printed parts, and now everything is finished so far. So in the next video I will show you how to assemble everything and how to fit everything perfectly to the car so that you can build the perfect KR 4.1. I hope you take the time to do these preparations properly, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.